What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Dave's Daily Dives, where I dig into the major stock market charts of the day and whatever else I feel like looking at. And then at the end, I don't leave you hanging, man. I give you 5 Zacks Rank #1 strong buy stocks that are breaking out from 52-week highs. This is great because obviously with the Zacks Rank, you have stocks where analysts have increased their earnings estimates for the stock. So if you have these estimates creeping up and the stock is at new highs, it's usually a pretty good sign. So you have a few trade ideas. Now, before I get into that, I want to point out something that Jeremy Mullen pointed out to me yesterday. He's off in Nebraska and said he had no charts. He's on vacation. But what he asked me to do is draw a fib from I think it was last Thursday, something like that, the 8th of August, the high, to the low of the 11th, and draw the fib. And I did that, and the 61.8 fib, so it's coming down from here, right? Comes down here, hits here, and then presumably would actually go south. The 61.8 fib was basically yesterday's high, off by one tick. One tick they took it up, and then it started to pull back a little bit. So if this holds true, then we've got a fib extension at 24.01 we've got to worry about. So that would be a retest of the lows breaking down and then going there. I'm not, and he wasn't so sure that this was going to develop either, and I'm not going to steal any of his thunder. I'm sure he's going to talk about this in his commentary when he gets back, but just very important to note that fib 61.8 is where we top ticked yesterday. Now, what happened during today's trading? Well, let me zoom out a little bit. He's got his fib, I've got mine, and mine is still the May to the June high, and we nearly ticked the 38.2% extension here. Now, over the last few days, what happened is we got a sell-off in the S&P, came underneath the 50-day moving average, found support, and then went higher. Now, the good news about today's action, even though it was bearish overall, right? We still took out yesterday's high. And then as for how far, to the downside we got, we barely got in yesterday's range. So this is all still very good in terms of the S&P 500 and should lead to more of a rally, really. Now, the Nasdaq. This is basically all I do. I look at the S&P, I look at the Nasdaq. You have to look at the Nasdaq. This has been really a major point of contention. Same fib, but I'm not going to ignore these levels that are in here. So we, again, almost hit that extension, just by a few ticks, before we had, Tech Rec #2, I guess. You can call this Tech Rec 1 in June and Tech Rec 2. It's overblown. It's not really a Tech Rec, just a little bit of selling. But got down close to this 38.2% retracement of the May to the June move. So that's interesting to see. And then now hovering still above the 50-day moving average, very close to that June high. So we're still not out of the woods yet. I was worried that perhaps this downward trend channel would start to evolve, but I don't want to talk about downward trend channels when we're still above the 50-day, right? It just seems like I'm jumping the gun a little bit. A major point of contention recently has been the volatility index, good old VIX. Now, got that spike all the way up above 16, which has been rare. We haven't had too many of those. Here's the May spike, and then an April spike. Haven't had too many of these huge moves in volatility to the upside, but we did have it. We had the 9th largest day in the history of the VIX, this 44% move. But that was followed up promptly by lots of dips to the downside. And now you've got the VIX at 1204. And what that's done is it's spilled over to some of the other volatility plays. So some of you have used VXX as a proxy for the VIX. It doesn't behave the exact same way because first you have contango between the contracts of the front month and then the back month. And then when you have expiration like you do today, it doesn't quite move with the spot VIX. But you'll see also the overall sort of negative trend of that. So be very careful when you're trying to trade this VIX, you don't want to stick around in it for too long because that contango is working against you. All right, so that's kind of the setup here we have on the market. Let's look at 5 Zacks Rank #1 strong buy stocks. The first being TopBuild, and this is a stock that's popped up on my radar several times in home run, as well as momentum, and then every time I just kind of shy away from it. Last time pull back to this 50 days, started to butt up against the highs, and then it broke out, and then I just keep making excuses for it, like it's not going to break out anymore. Especially this consolidation over the last few months, I thought it was over. Lo and behold, here we are breaking out to new highs again. So how do you trade a stock like TopBuild? Just set it and forget it. This is something you just want to buy. Hope the EPS keeps coming in great and the stock moves higher. And you don't want to fret about this. Don't get too cute about it. Just buy it, set your risk parameters, and forget about it. This is an oldie but a goodie. You remember Crocs? Not K, C-R-O-X, Crocs. So these guys make those, the holy shoes that dads wear and chefs, right? But there's been a resurgence here at Crocs, and if we were looking at the price consensus EPS surprise chart, I know there would be a trough in the EPS here. That's why it's a Zacks Rank #1 strong buy right now. But look at this huge move, breaking out from this $8 range. Now it's all the way up in the 9s. Has had a lot of volatility though, but I like the fact that intraday it came all the way down to 840 and caught a bid. I think that means you're out of the woods here, so you could chase this a little bit in the hopes that it breaks through this 950 level. But you're going to have to be very, very lenient with your stops. You're going to have to allow those stops to be well down there. Or the other thing you could do is you could sell an out of the money put here. And then if it does come down, then it just gets put to you, but you got it on sale anyway, so you don't care too much. That's Crocs, C-R-O-X. That's right, there's no K, folks. Then we've got Kemet. I almost added this to Momentum Trader the other day, and it's just another stock that just keeps on trucking. Has found support at the 50-day moving average on multiple occasions. The most recent was in June. Now it's broken higher all the way up over the $20 range. Again, this is a Zacks Rank #1 strong buy. So these EPS estimates have been creeping up along with the stock. So lots of momentum behind this name. It's just getting a little bit dicey here as you start to move past this, this 50-day moving average. I think perhaps if you wanted to chase this, you could put your stop just shy of 18. That's the swing low there. That should provide a little bit of support to the downside. What I love about this, if you look at the shaken money flows, crossed over in May and has not looked back. That means there's been a slow, steady institutional accumulation, or at least higher volume accumulation has been happening in Kemet. Ticker KEM. I got the K right that time. Now we got Progress Software, ticker PRGS. Maybe you haven't heard about this stock. It's been a lot choppier than the other ones that we've been looking at here, but this is what I want to point to, is this consolidation in December. Same sort of consolidations taking place in June and early August. Now it's starting to peak above those levels. If the stock can continue to find a bid here, this is a great breakout that you could play, because you don't have to put your stops too far low, right? Too out of the money. You can put a stop down near the 50-day moving average, just below 31, and allow this thing to run because it looks good. Commodity channel index has gone from oversold, crossed over to the zero line, giving you a buy signal. You got plenty of support from the 50-day. This is one you could chase. That's Progress Software, PRGS. And the last is ZAG, ticker, ZAG. Zacks Rank #1 strong buy. Also, another situation where you have had this sort of consolidation, which then gets broken out to the upside. So a few days, obviously, you would have been much better to buy this thing at 950. Now it's all the way up over 11. You maybe want it to cool off just a little bit before you participate, but if you insist on chasing, I think you're going to have to use these previous highs as your level to put the stop on the other side of. But that's almost that's $2 on this stock. That's a ways away, or I don't know. If you want to chase it, go ahead and chase it, but I would allow it to come down a little bit. Otherwise, you just have a very wide stop loss there. Okay, so that's all I got for you here today. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Bartosiastics, and of course, you can sign up for Home Run Investor or Momentum Trader here on Zacks.com. So thanks for hanging out with me here today. I will talk to you later in the week. Have a good one.